Hey there, Ospreys. Welcome to a special edition of Inside Swoop. I'm David Sweats, and today we'll be talking with UNF communication student Sean Clark about his work with Uncovering Jacksonville, a project seeking to tell the untold stories of our city. Sean, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
So you created content for Uncovering Jacksonville. What exactly was your role in the project?
So it's an ongoing project with the communications department, and Professor Gooden has us make videos discovering and uncovering stories of Jacksonville.
And what can you tell us about what you did? What story were you involved with directly?
This documentary was about the black baseball in Jacksonville and just the history of Jacksonville and its importance in sports in Jacksonville.
And I know the one baseball team in Jacksonville was the Red Caps. What can you tell us about the Red Caps, where they played, what kind of their history was?
They all played at JP Small Field. They were actually, everyone on the team worked for the railroad station. So they all, in order to play on the team, they worked there. And there was a falling out. They moved to Cleveland and moved back, and it kind of fell out. And then the whole color barrier broke, so there was no more Negro Leagues. So, but many teams played in Jacksonville over time.
Oh, pretty cool. And so before the show, before we started, we were talking beforehand while we were getting this all set up, and you mentioned you interviewed Harold Hare, one of the last living members of the league who's living here in Jacksonville. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was an amazing experience getting to talk with Mr. Buster Hare. He is up in age now, but he had so many stories. He knew so many great people. He knew Jackie Robinson. He was best friends with Ernie Banks. He grew up with the Red Caps actually as a kid. He was a bat boy, and that's what made him love baseball. So he always would come back to his home, Jacksonville, but ended up going to play with the Kansas City Monarchs and the Negro Leagues. So he became a very prominent person in the Negro Leagues.
And what was that like interviewing him? So you said he was kind of up there in age. It's kind of like a living relic, you could say. What was that kind of like an experience for you as a communications student here at UNF? What was that for you going and interviewing someone with that much like weight behind their name?
It was great. I'm a big fan of sports. I'm not originally from Jacksonville, but getting to learn history here is great. It just shows that how big this was in Jacksonville, and baseball was the start of sports in Jacksonville, and he was a big part of that. And people should know that, hopefully they'll know that he's a big part of Jacksonville's sports history.
Yeah. And so you mentioned there, you're not from Jacksonville, so you don't really know a lot about the city, but a lot of the history that this project is doing no one really knows what's going on. Like, there's a lot of stories about unknown people, unknown places. So what do you think is really cool about this whole Uncovering Jacks project that you're a part of?
I think it's really cool because now we're gaining a collection of videos that are solidified, and people can always go back and watch them at any time. It's not just a book or something that someone will read. It's something that anyone can just watch and learn all these fantastic stories about Jacksonville, and it makes Jacksonville an even better place history-wise, because there's so much more to Jacksonville than people think.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out and talking with us about your work in this Uncovering Jacks project, and look forward to seeing that documentary you put together on Mr. Harold Hare.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, that's another edition of Inside Swoop. Tune in next time for more campus information. I'm David Sweats. Thanks for joining me on Inside Swoop.